Hi, Anya Levine, your house coach. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. It is great to have you. I love talking about our homes and the energy and the practicality ideas and the aesthetics. So as a house coach, that's really what I do. And I want you to live your best possible amazing potential, and I'm all about having our homes giving us that. And if we live in a space of sanctuary and luxury, and it doesn't even matter where that place may be, it could be a 1 bedroom or a suite, or it could be a 6 bedroom house and you feel, you know, however, every space is beautiful. I have seen so many spaces over the 16 years. I had a staging and design business, and I was in about 5 homes a week. And the homeowners were ready to sell, and I always found the beauty of what each home had and to enhance it. And that is what I want to do for you to have. I want you to have that for your home, and that is what I want to do in terms of creating those ideas for you. Sorry, my words just got a little mumbled. So today I want to talk about the practicality of our items. And so the word that I'm going to come up with, which is a word that I don't really like the way it sounds. I feel it's very negative, but to this date I haven't been able to find a better word, and it's clutter. So clutter, what is clutter? You know, as soon as we hear the word clutter, it's like, it is overwhelm. And it could be clutter in your mind or clutter on your laptop, but today we're going to talk about clutter in our homes. You can think of your workspace, and you can think of your car as well. So how do you feel when you see it? Yes, as soon as I said the word, you do and can feel overwhelmed. Now, I've done many talks over the last couple of years, and I've had incredible creative types say to me, but you know what, I like my stuff all around. And that's a different story, because I do too. And if you are creative, you like to have piles here and there. But at the end of the day, if those piles can be put into some sort of order, that when you walk in the room, you can actually think and you do not feel distracted, because that's another thing that clutter can offer us, is distraction. So let me give you a visual. If you're walking into your kitchen and your counters are full with stuff, can you really concentrate on what to make as a meal? It's not that simple. And so same thing, if you can walk into each room. In our bedrooms, are we feeling anxious? Is there, are we putting our clothes away? Is there things throughout our home that's on the floor? So really take note to that. Items on the floor, and that's an energy piece, but that is low vibrating. And so that kind of brings things down. But yes, clutter can make us feel all those things: distracted, overwhelmed, bombarded. It causes our mind, like we feel like overstimulation, overstimuli, and that's why it is very difficult to concentrate. And so when you are working on a space, and I'm just going to talk about a drawer right now. So pick a drawer in your mind, and I always talk about different categories. So when you're working on a drawer, I would say to get your phone and put it on a timer. Because when we say, oh, I'm going to organize my space, it's like, oh, it's so overwhelming. So you don't have to do everything in one day. You don't have to do everything in 1 month. You don't have to do everything in 1 year. Just go bit by bit. So take a drawer, for example, and then find a surface space and find categories. So categories could be like with like. You don't want it anymore. It needs to be fixed. You want to donate it, and it's garbage. And then there's items that you don't know why you still have it. So that's what I want to hone in on today. Items that we have in our home and we don't want to get rid of them, but why don't we want to get rid of them? Like, what is the reason? So when you're working on a drawer, in a closet, in a cupboard, any of those spaces, in a bin, and you go through all those categories, and there is items that you don't want to get rid of. And they could even be furniture pieces. It might be because you spent a lot of money on it and you would hate to see that money go. But there's other emotional attachments, and that's what I really want to zone in on today. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. So the first example, and these are my examples, and I love giving examples to people because then you kind of, you can relate. It's not going to be the same, but then you have an understanding. So this here is sort of a little sort of blanket that goes into a doll-like stroller, and it's from Europe. And my grandmother used to send me, my German grandmother used to send us parcels every year when we were young, and we were super, super excited. And so one year, when I guess I would have been about maybe 4, I received this beautiful stroller, a pram stroller. And if anybody can or knows, the European, especially the Germans, really take heart in their some of their toys. So anyway, this stroller was magnificent, and this was the blanket that it laid on. The blanket laid on this, and we used to put our dress up bunnies in and put them in the stroller, and of course dolls and everything like that. So anyway, the stroller obviously had its time and it had left, but what didn't leave was this blanket. And I left home probably around 23, and it came with me. And from there, I must have had 5 moves. And it is still with me today. Now, I've done some inner work, and so I am ready to let go of this blanket, but I like to keep it for my teachings, and so that's why I have it. So what I did with this particular blanket was I was stuck of getting rid of it, and I didn't know why. So what I did, and I invite you to do the same, is I put it in a room in my home where every time I pass it, I would see it. That happened to be the dining room for me. I had it on a ledge, and I kept looking at it, every day, back and forth. And I thought, well, if you really like it, and a lot of people would do this, just cut a little bit of fabric and put it in a frame. And I said, well, why don't you do that? But it didn't draw attention to me. It just didn't connect with me. So I don't know when it was. Let's say just within a week or something, it just happened to dawn on me. And it wasn't the blanket. It was the connection with my grandmother. So I was with her before I came and immigrated. Here, I'm from Canada, I'm Toronto, and I was with her for the first 3 years of my life. And she was the one who doted on me and read to me and all those wonderful things that grandparents do. And she was no longer there, and I so missed her. But not everybody, most of us don't have those memories from like the 5-year on. And anyway, that's what that was. So what I did then was I grabbed a picture. Here's me and my grandmother. And here's another one when I went to visit her when I was much older. I don't know with the lighting if you can see. And so I've got these lovely photos, and I put them up, and that is a reminder. I also have this beautiful bracelet here that she gifted me. And so really this can go, because what was happening with this was that it was going from one bin to another cupboard to another closet. And does that really actually make any sense? It doesn't. So I wanted to give you this example. Another example I want to give you is um, from a perspective of teaching others to let go of what no longer serves us. Because once this left, there was room for new things to come my way. And that's the energy part of it. The second item I want to bring out is this fancy little clutch purse. And I have 3 children, and this is my oldest daughter's. And I bought her this for her prom. Prom is an exciting time. I remember my prom, and I was super, super proud to have been able to, hang out with her, get some things for her dress, and all that wonderful stuff. And she loved this purse. And one day, she's getting rid of her things, and what she's getting rid of is this. And I had a fit. Why? I don't know. You think I wouldn't. But I didn't understand it at that time. And she was good at letting go, and I was not, because I had an emotional attachment to the event, not to the purse, to the event. And there could be so many things behind that. That could be me going back to my memory of the prom. It could be going to having fun, getting everything ready for Emily, whatever it may be. But the reason I'm bringing up these 2 examples is when you have something in your home and you have a hard time to let it go, just have it visible. Have it visible out there for a while and see what emotions come up. And that's okay, because whatever comes up, work with those emotions. And once you've been able to work with that, then you're able to let go. And so importantly, that we don't keep things that don't serve us, that don't do us well. I mentioned a while back, there are many items that people have such a hard time getting rid of, which is a monetary value. And it just it could become stuck because it's somewhere that it shouldn't be. Or it could become when you walk in the room and you're like, I'm just going to give an example that I hear quite a bit, is a very expensive carpet. And so you walk in the room and you see the carpet, but you walk and it doesn't make you feel happy. It doesn't sing to you. It's the Marie Kondo, you know how she says that. And so when you walk in a space and it's like, ugh, or whatever it may be, that brings you down a couple of layers. So your vibration is going down, and that's not what we want. We want to be living in high vibration. And so think about that as well. One thing also that I want to give you an example of when I grew up. I grew up with 2 parents that had a hard time throwing things away. One was a mother who came from, well, they both obviously went through the war, but being from Europe, my mother saw that so much more than my dad, because he came from another part of the world. And she could not throw things out. Having said that, neither could my dad. And in the back of our home, where the garage was, and we had a 2-car garage, which is a pretty amazing thing. I don't have that. There was at least 3 cars sitting there. Okay, maybe not 3. 2 cars sitting there that were not working. And it was the someday, one day. Someday, one day, I will fix it. And then you can have the car, or we can drive the car. And that one particular car sat back there for over 15 years. So you can just imagine the energy that goes on with that. There's no space to walk through because this car is sitting right there. We couldn't go directly to the back door. That it's a keep on reminder for my dad, who said he was going to fix it. What was he feeling like? There were emotions for everyone in the family. So think about those examples and see what comes up for you and what changes you can make. And I would love if you share them. And again, subscribe if you love what you're hearing. And also, more importantly, message me and say, Anya, listen, can you talk about this? I would love to. Bye for now.